This video was brought to you by Stormberg, a Weather Planner, MisterGreen, Kempower and Marcus Bil. Yo, what's up? We are now in Chiang Dao in Thailand, and in the recent videos about PV, I realized we have a lot of backseat solar installers in our channel. But thank you so much for all the suggestions and the advices. Some of them are useful, some of them are not so useful. So I try to gather the most common questions, and I also want to answer as many questions as possible by making this video, this follow-up video. So first, what I want to say is that try to Google Chiang Dao. Look at the map. Chiang Dao is quite far north in Thailand, and it is actually cold here at night. Well, it depends, but in winter, in around actually November, December, January, February, that's usually considered winter months. It can be as cold as 5 degrees Celsius at night. In the daytime, it's nice and warm, but usually in the evening and night, and especially early morning, it can be quite cold. This morning, I took the Aura Good Cat for a spin. It was 13 degrees Celsius outside, and I can show you that I'm actually wearing the Stormberg jacket plus a Stormberg shirt, and you see I'm also wearing the Stormberg pants, and also this is the outfit I'm wearing when I'm in Norway, and I kind of need to wear it here because it's cold. So just bear that in mind, that it is somewhat cold over here in the north of Thailand where we have the solar panels. And what does that have to do with solar panels anyway? Well, let me see, I made a long list here of things. Okay, let's start with, people say, don't chop down the trees, just trim them. Okay, first of all, bamboo is not a tree, it's a grass. Okay, thank you so much for the correctment. Here we see Amir's dad has been trimmed some of the bamboo. The bamboos, they grow so fast. People say, well, the benefit of having PV is killed by you killing the trees. Well, the bamboos, man, Amir's dad told me that they reach 20-meter height within 1 year, and then they are still green, and then they kind of keep the same length, but then they start changing color as they age, but they grow so fast. So what we are doing is that we are not chopping down the whole tree, we are just trimming some of it. So yeah, here you see these ones, they probably have some age because they are not green anymore. And what Amir's dad did was that he trimmed them. Here you see, let me show you again because you guys missed it. So we trimmed them so they still give some natural shade for the house, but they are not blocking for the solar panels. As for the branches over here though, I'm not sure, did they do anything here yet? But this is some kind of oak tree, I guess, I'm not sure. Still, also, this is not on our property, but we should also get them trimmed. It seems almost as if they have trimmed some of them already, but they should trim some of this. But you see, we are not ruining the whole forest. We're just trimming some trees that is affecting the light output. And one last thing I'll show you is, okay, this one is a bit hard. I have to go on this side. So sorry for this. I actually have quite limited time in Thailand, so I just have to do this quick, but while also showing you on site what's going on. Yeah, this tree here is also a little bit too high, so it needs to be trimmed because we get some shade, but at least the extra panels, they are on the other side there where it was affected by the bamboo. So, but okay, you can also trim some of this to optimize it further. My drone, unfortunately, is in Norway, my Mavic drone. I almost gave up using the drone because the rules are so strict over there. Whereas in Thailand, I feel like I actually enjoy one part of Thailand, which is that it's not that strict over here. For example, if you speed, you get a 500 baht flat rate speeding ticket, which is 12 euros. You can go 170 kilometers per hour in the 90 zone, you get a 500 baht speeding ticket. Not that I'm gonna do it, but just saying that it is a little bit relief to not always be in such a super strict country like Norway. Swiss people, they can confirm. But what I'm saying is that I think I might want to bring my drone here just to fly in our own property and stuff, but I might just buy a piece of shitty drone just to get up there to survey and see what's going on. But anyway, so yeah, long explanation, but we might trim more of this tree. But many of you guys are concerned that, oh no, if you cut the trees, that they give you natural shade for the house. Well, I was trying to make a point here that it's cold here. So I could bring out the thermal camera. I can show you that it is actually quite cold in the house in these months, to the point where we have to run the heater. That's our room there. This is Amar's dad's room. So this part here gets a little bit more heat. Yeah, this part here, usually in the afternoon, the sun will be shining here. And I feel like, this is the kitchen, by the way. Oh shit. I then feel that this part here becomes warmer, but not hot. It becomes around 25, maybe 30 degrees Celsius now in the winter months. How it's going to be in the summer months, I don't know yet. But here's the inverter, and many people say that, oh no, it's going to be noisy in here. Well, I can hear a gentle humming maybe. That's it. And they say it's bad for the inverter to be hot. Well, it is not that hot. We have, okay, I don't know how much you guys know about Thailand. Maybe you have been staying in a bungalow in Thailand, you know, wooden house, like the old house over here. The wooden house, they don't keep the heat there, or they heat up really fast and they become hot. Bamboo or some shit, right? But concrete house like this takes a long time to heat up. And again, I could show you, but I can tell you roughly that inside the house now in the morning, it is only around 15 degrees Celsius there. So it's quite cold. And even in the afternoon hours, it doesn't heat up that much. And it becomes maybe around 20, 25 degrees only over here. You see, we have so much shade. So which means that in the summer months, well, maybe I should move off this because I think wife is still sleeping and the windows are not blocking that much. Yeah, the heat also escapes quite easy here because we don't have the, I think, is this a single layer? Yeah, we don't have double layer glass. So the insulation is quite poor in that regard. So what I'm saying is that by trimming some of the trees, we will not affect, or it's not going to be hot in here. Even in hot season, it's not going to be hot in the car, in the house. So you don't have to worry about that part. Okay, let me look at the list again. Yeah, and also people say, get optimizers, get optimizer. I actually don't know exactly what the optimizer is, but from what I heard, if you have optimizer, if you get shade on some of the panels, you can still get good light output. Whereas now, some people claim that once you get a little bit of shade, you will have nada. It's not true because we have Longi panels, and they are called half cells. There are lots of benefits with the Longi half cells. Even Tesla choose to use Longi on the Giga Texas. Why? But Texas, can you imagine how hot it is in Texas? Tesla chose to use it over there. So that should mean that these Longi half cells, they are actually more resistant against heat. You can Google about this. The half cells, they have lots of good properties. They basically double the number of cells, and then you reduce the resistance, and you have lots and lots of benefits with the half cells versus the traditional ones. And also from what I heard, that the half cells, even if you get shade on some of it, you will still have 50% power output, maybe because it's split half or something like that. So I actually don't think we need optimizers. As long as we trim the stuff, then no need to waste money on optimizer. We already added extra panels, which is actually a quite good deal. I'll come back to that. Okay, yeah, actually, I should also mention, yeah. So if you do the math, initially we had 11 panels. We added 3 more panels, which is actually 27% more panels. And basically we get 27% more power output, but it only cost us 20,000 baht extra. So 9% extra cost compared to the total cost. 9% extra cost to get 27% extra power. That is a no-brainer. I did the math and I figured out, go for it. They also confirm that's the best way to do it. Add 3 extra panels. It gives you lots of other benefits also. So even now in the winter month, when the angle is not perfect, we're still getting good power. And in the summer month, we'll be clipping at 5 kilowatt earlier in the day, and we'll be staying at the 5 kilowatt for longer. It's almost like we will then have a flat charging curve, if you know what I mean, versus having like a peak whoop, you know. All right, what else? Yeah, many people ask me, battery, Bjørn, you should get battery. Well, okay, I also thought about it myself. Before I started doing the math, is it worth it getting battery in here? There's a limitation on the equipment, which is that this Huawei inverter can only work with certain types of batteries, and it can work with one type of LFP battery that the company can also install, but it costs 100,000 baht. And the problem is that that battery is only 5 kilowatt hour. You know, you can probably hook up some gel battery, but will it be able to supply the amount of power? Because you have to be able to supply the C rating when you turn on the shower or pull high power for the charger, for example. So 5 kilowatt hour. I have to do more. I have to show you guys more about it. I have to do the math, but a quick math is that for 5 kilowatt hour, you need roughly 1 hour, 1 to 1.5 hours during the daytime to fill up the battery. And then it's full, helt fullt, yeah. And then you can spend the 5 kilowatt hour in the evening. And that 5 kilowatt hour is only roughly 10 baht saving. And you also have to take into account degradation on the battery. But just to put it short, it's going to take you 30 years to get the investment back. So the return on investment time is 30 years on the LFP battery. And then if you go for the gel type, which is cheaper, it's only 10,000 baht, then they say that it degrades faster and they only give you 1 year warranty. So then it's still not worth it, because another thing I should mention is that we are in Thailand roughly maybe 2 months per year. Yeah, maybe 3 months per year in the future, but roughly 2 months per year we are here in Thailand. When we are here, we'll be charging the car, and it makes sense, but we also kind of need to be here in the daytime. But then it will be, okay, we will gain the benefit of solar. But for the remaining 10 months, Ameri's parents, they only use 100 to 150 kilowatt hour per month. I look in the electricity bill, they almost don't use any electricity, because the cooking is by gas. They use some TV, they use the heater for the shower, and that's pretty much it. So they use so little electricity here that it's not worth it having a battery. Now, what about in your case, in your country? Yeah, that might be a different story, but you have to do the math. But I'm gonna make a separate video, because the whole battery is actually a very interesting topic. I'll have to continue with my list here. Yeah, some people ask me also, Bjørn, I see that we have three-phase. Why don't you use three-phase to charge the Tesla even faster? I'm gonna give you a very good example. Here you see, we have 4 wires going into the house, which means that we have 3-phase in the house. Okay, great. But you will notice that we only have 2 wires going into the garage. We are only pulling 1 phase in here. So I chose to do it like this because we have 32 amp now. Instead of, if we would, this one supports 22 kilowatt, but we simply don't have 22 kilowatt here. So I chose to go for single phase, 32 amp, because with the Tesla, I will then get 7.4 kilowatt. With or GoodCat or other cars that doesn't support 3-phase charging, I will still get 7. Right now we're pulling 7 kilowatt here. I think this car is pulling 30 amp. So you see, we will still be charging fairly fast with other cars. And with Tesla, it's no big deal if I charge at 7 kilowatt. There hasn't been a situation where I have to charge at 11 kilowatt because I arrive here in the evening and I have to leave in a couple of hours. So this is just fine. Yeah. So, all right. Moving on to the next question, very common. Yeah, and also you say, some people say, yeah, now it's time to upgrade. Once you're back next year or well, this year, you want to upgrade, get more, get 10 kilowatt. You know, this is just child's play. Well, do we need to upgrade? So let me remind you, Ameri's parents, they spend 100 to 150 kilowatt hour per year. For the most part of the year, we will have ultra low consumption here. And then during when we are here, yes, we use a lot, but it's not worth it. So why the heck did I even install solar panels here? Well, because for the most part, we'll be selling the electricity. The price for electricity is kind of semi-complex in Thailand. It's not Nord Pool based like in Europe. It's more like a flat rate, more or less. But it also depends on how much you spend. But to put it short, the electricity here costs somewhere between 3.5 to 4.5 baht per kilowatt hour. Let's make it around let's make it around 4 baht per kilowatt hour then. For most people. In this home, it's actually lower because the consumption is so low. So if you have roughly 4 baht per kilowatt hour, and then the selling price, after 6 months we can start selling, then it's 2.2 baht per kilowatt hour. I heard that they might raise it to around 3 baht per kilowatt hour. But you see, it means that we will be able to sell it at almost half the price we buy it from. So by knowing that, you can then do the calculations and you can figure out how much the savings are. And by getting 10 kilowatt or 20 kilowatt on the roof, we might even have to chop more trees, but it's not worth it. The reason why I installed solar panel here is to learn more about solar and about how it works. It's more like proof of concept and for me to learn as like a sandbox, but also to make content about it. So that's why. Let me see. I have to run through my list again. Okay, Amar's dad, he's going to cut some more. You see, I asked him. He did cut some of this. You see, we are just trimming it. So I think he might also trim some of this, but this is plenty because in the afternoon, when the sun passes here, then the sun is so weak that it doesn't matter too much anyway. So that's it. We're not chopping down the trees, we're just trimming some of it. And it's still nice and well, it's almost, like I said, it's almost too cold in the house. So in the winter months, we have to run the heater a little bit in the morning hours even. So it means that in the rain season, mid-season, it's perfectly fine. No need to run the heater, no need to run the air conditioning. And I guess for the hot season, yes, maybe we run it a little bit, but not that much because actually I should also show you that the roof here, the ceiling goes here, and then there's a gap between the ceiling and the roof, which means that it's a natural insulator. So even if the roof is quite hot, then we don't feel any of that heat in here. I mean, I can show you guys in the thermal camera, but just telling you guys probably smart enough to figure out that. And also the properties of concrete house is brilliant because it tends to absorb some of that heat in the daytime without being too hot in the house. But then in the evening, it just kind of releases some of that heat that it absorbed during the day. So the temperature in a concrete house like this is very nice and stable. Whereas if you ever stayed in a bungalow, the temperature in that wooden house or that bamboo house goes up and down like a yo-yo. It almost follows the ambient temperature. So this is perfect, man. This is perfect for here, at least. It's perfect. I don't know how it is in other places in Thailand, but that's a different story. So actually, I think that's it. Hopefully this answers some of the questions. Maybe you have even more follow-up questions, but that's going to be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching and talk to you later.